So if we aren't clear on what we're dealing with, how can we effectively address it? For years, mental health has been a taboo topic, and although we're opening up more as a nation about the issue, we still have a lot of catching up to do. We've got mental health advocate Lanvell Blake and director of the Jamaica Mental Health Advocacy Network, Janelle Brooks, joining us now. Jan, I can barely see you. Your picture is a little fuzzy, but let's go ahead nonetheless. Good morning. World Mental Health Day yesterday. Were you both encouraged by what you were seeing around you in social media, people talking about opening up about their own struggles and encouraging folks? Janelle, let me start with you.
Definitely. I think we have seen a lot of growth over the years in the amount of people who are willing to share their story and to, lend their voice to mental health. So definitely over the past few years, there's been an uptick in the general population just being more vocal about mental health.
Lanvell, you are blending your voice in this area and doing work in this area, but you've also suffered through your own issues that you were very open about yesterday. I found your post yesterday very touching. Can you tell us a little bit about what you said and why you said it that way?
I think for me, let me give a background. In April 2016, I would have gone through a period of suicide ideation and suicide attempts. And I think that period was one of the lowest periods in my life. And ever since then, I know personally what it feels like to be at a point where you're like, okay, I can't continue with life. And having pulled back myself, having friends who pulled me back, it was important for me from then to kind of lend my voice to the cause and kind of encourage more people to seek mental health services and kind of encourage more access and build awareness generally around mental health and mental ill health.
Yeah, can I see your tattoo? Where is it? Can I see it? It's actually a semicolon, right?
Yes,
and what does it mean?
So, semicolons when you're doing sentences is basically where you could have stopped the sentence, but you decided to continue. So for me, and for a long time, I said I would not get a tattoo. And when I returned from the UK, having studied in the UK, it was just something that I said, this will always be meaningful to me.
Yeah.
And every time somebody asks me about the semicolon, it's a conversation starts off.
Right. No period, no full stop. It's not finality. The story continues. I love that. Janelle, you work as a counseling psychologist as well. Did I get the title right?
Yes.
Right. And so
yes.
You see what's happening. We know you've been very busy, especially since this pandemic started. We talk about mental health. We talk about mental illness. Part of the problem is that we use them interchangeably. Is that wrong? Are there differences?
Well, so we all have mental health. The same way we would have physical health, we all have mental health. And therefore you can have mental illness, which is a sickness or a disorder that would affect you mentally, right? And then you have mental ill health, which means that you may not necessarily meet the criteria for a particular diagnosis, but you're having enough distress that is causing you dysfunction in your day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm. And whether that shows up as anxiety or depression and some people don't even know a name to put to it. I mean, sometimes people will just say, I feel like I just can't bother. I feel like I can't manage. I feel like I want to give up because they don't have the right words to put on it. Jan, how do you know when it's time to seek services from people like you or to just start talking about it to somebody who will listen?
Well, what I would say is if you notice that for a minimum of 2 weeks, you've been having particular feelings that are persistent. So for example, feeling sad today is not enough to warrant, do I have depression, that kind of a discussion. But if you recognize certain changes in yourself, in your normal way of being for at least 2 weeks, I would say then it would be time to probe the issue a little further.
And what are some of these changes, Jan?
Yes, so changes in your normal sleeping habits. So you're either sleeping less or sleeping more. The same with eating. If you realize that you're isolating more and you don't have a desire to connect with persons as you usually would. If you are finding yourself not motivated, not having that same level of motivation, your productivity and efficiency at work is being threatened. Those are things that we start to look at. If you're having more feelings of anxiety that are not necessarily triggered by something. So for example, you don't have a presentation or a big meeting coming up, but there are these feelings of anxiety. That would be something to query as well.
Okay, and how do we get or find help from your organization? Because I'm being given the wrap, we have to go.
So we are on social media, jamhan_JA. Or email address is also jamhan2012@gmail.com.
Okay, and I'm proud to say that I'm also a director on this board because I believe so
Yes.
strongly in mental health. And having had my own challenges, I think it's important, right, for us to do this.
Yes.
Lanvell, I want to big you up in as a young man who's speaking out about this, because sometimes our men think they have to act brave and tough, but this is a discussion everybody needs to have, right, sir? Giving you the last word.
That's true. That is true. I think for me, personally, as Janelle said, it's good to see so many people speaking about it. I talk a lot about how social media has kind of allowed us, or I've seen many people sharing their experiences. But I think for me, I want the conversation to kind of move beyond awareness to access. Because when we talk, we need people to seek service, and if people can't access service, then we have another challenge. So we need to move beyond awareness to actually getting people access.
Awareness to access and access to advocacy, right, Jan? That's what Jan is doing. Thank you both for being here this morning. It's Jamhan, JAMHAN_JA. If you want to reach out and find out how you can get help. Thank you, mental health advocate Lanvell Blake, as well as the director of the Jamaica Mental Health Advocacy Network.